Hey guys, it's Christy and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to be reviewing the new Mcgrath 5-pan eyeshadow palettes. So before we get into it, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel before you leave. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, and let's get into it. Alright guys, so I am so excited for this release. So this is like the second part to her holiday release for 2022. She's kind of been releasing the whole collection in pieces. The large palette came out first and I already have a review of that one up here on my channel. And then it's these guys, and then the day that I am filming this, she just released the blush palettes yesterday. I believe the entire collection is available now. That also includes a highlight, an individual blush, and some lipsticks, but these though are what had me the very most excited. So I do believe these are a brand new format for Mcgrath. I believe the last couple of years she released quads with her palettes. These retail for $49 each Canadian. I believe that's around $35 US. You can get them individually or in a bundle. We have Nude Allure and Bronze Bliss. So I'm very excited about these, and both of these have a 12-month shelf life and are also made in Italy, so just like her other eyeshadows, which means the quality should be just as good. So the first one we're going to look at, this is Nude Allure. Very beautiful. And then opening this up, this color story looks gorgeous. So these are definitely very heavy on the shimmers. There is one matte and 4 shimmers in each one. And then this is Bronze Bliss, so same format, 4 shimmers, 1 matte. I'm a little bit nervous about this one. I thought this would be my favorite between the two, but then I realized Bronze Bliss, the only matte is a black, and I'm kind of nervous. So we're gonna see how this goes. So let's look at swatches of Nude Allure. Okay, so 4 of the shades. We have Mercurial Rose, which is a beautiful, beautiful pinky shimmer. Then we have Mahogany Angel, and this is the only matte in the palette. It felt very creamy. It almost felt like a cream to powder shadow. Not swatching the best, but then we have Coral Kiss, Plum Eclipse. And for the last shimmer in that palette, we have Naked Bronze. So this looks very, very beautiful. This definitely looks like a color story I'm going to enjoy a lot. I am very, very into this top shade here. Okay, let's look at Bronze Bliss. So we have Nude Moon, which is also very pretty. Then we have La Vie en Noir, which is the matte black, and it's swatching a little bit patchy, and it definitely wasn't nearly as creamy as the brown in Nude Allure. Then we have Lunar Luxury, which, wow, that's beautiful. That is a gorgeous gunmetal type shade. I got so much out of that. That went so far, and it felt very wet in the pan, so I think I need to put that on the lid. I really do. And right away I'm seeing like a beautiful smoky look out of those two. I'm thinking very New Year's. Then we have Bronzed Mink, which is also very pretty. And then lastly, we have Bronze Illusion. So those are the 2 palettes. We have Nude Allure and Bronze Bliss. Bronze Bliss is kind of interesting to me because it's looking very cool tone, very smoky, but then you have these bronzes. Over here, it just looks very pink, and I'm really into it. Since we have 2 palettes, we'll do one look on each eye, and I'll let you know my thoughts on each one. And I'm going to do Bronze Bliss on this side. I'm going to do Nude Allure on this side. So let's start with Bronze Bliss. So I have already primed with my MAC paint pot and just set it down with some powder. I guess I'm going to start with La Vie en Noir, and I'm going to use that in the outer corner. I don't think I'm going to bring it far into the crease, but I am going to use it for my outer corner. If you are familiar with my channel, I don't use a lot of black except for liner, so this is blending out pretty nicely for a black, I gotta say. I don't play with black often. Black just isn't a color I like to mess with, but seeing as it is the only matte in this palette, and I really didn't want to bring it too far into the crease, but I guess that's what we're doing. but just working on keeping it to the outer corner. So the black is not performing too badly. It's pretty good, honestly. I like how well it's shearing out, but I feel like I'm noticing a slight patch right here. Honestly, I kind of like that it's a little bit more buildable just because, again, I don't play with black very much. I absolutely have to go into Lunar Luxury. It's just such a wet shade, and when I actually press into it, I can kind of feel that it's very creamy. My finger is really kind of sinking into it. And I'm just going to press it on the lid because it does have a bit of sparkle, and I feel like I'll end up getting a little bit of fallout if I'm not careful. That is as pretty as I thought it was. I love how creamy this shade is. Okay, I am loving the way that shade looks all over the lid. I'm now going to go into Nude Moon, and I am going to try to keep that to my inner corner. I feel like Lunar Luxury would have gone on really well with the brush because it is so wet. This one is not quite as wet, but it is going on quite well with the brush also, and that looks really nice. I just want to add a little bit more of Lunar Luxury, just bring it in just a little bit more. I am absolutely in love with that silver shade. I have never ever had a silver shadow that I liked quite as much as this one. This might not be the cutest look, but I love it. So I obviously haven't used these two bronzes right on the end, but they are the same sort of formula as Nude Moon, and that shade performed really well, especially for being a shimmer. It played so well on a brush. I'm very, very impressed, and I'm super, super impressed with this one that the only matte shade was a black and I made it work. Let's move on to the other eye because I can't stop staring at that silver. I don't normally wear smoky eye, so this is new for me. Okay, let's move into Nude Allure. So this is the palette. We're gonna start with Mahogany Angel, and this brown felt more like a cream to powder shadow when I swatched it, and when I just dug in my brush, there was so much kick up. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but there was a lot of kick up with that. So you'll just really want to tap off your brush if you get too much. I have only recently started doing a different look on each eye when reviewing a new palette, so let me know if you like that because it kind of drives me crazy just for uniformity. But if that's something that's really helpful, please let me know down below and I'll just keep doing it. It is kind of very helpful for time's sake, you know, so I don't mind doing it. The thing is that when I'm reviewing new palettes, I like to test out the palette and the different formulas, but what's really important to me too is creating looks that are going to be wearable, and I think a lot of people may go for, especially. I am somebody who can sometimes have a hard time when I see a new palette and I need to find inspiration. So part of what I like to do is to create looks that are going to be helpful to somebody in my position, if that makes sense. Or maybe I'm just over explaining. I don't know. That brown, incredible. So I was a little worried when I saw how much kick up I got, but the way that went on the lid, the way it just blended itself out essentially, that might be one of the best matte shadows I have ever tried. I know matte shadows are pretty easy to formulate and it's just a matte shadow. That was incredible. The way that went on, the way that blended out, and it just kind of found the shape I wanted, almost without me. That's amazing. Okay, on this eye, for the sake of doing the most, I'm gonna go in with Coral Kiss, and I'm gonna take that one, excuse my middle finger, all over the lid, more so just right in the center. And then I'm going to take just a little bit of Plum Eclipse just to sort of where it meets that brown. Okay, so in a surprising turn of events, I liked the purple more. I'm just going to kind of blend that. I am potentially having too much fun with these palettes, I have to say. I was expecting to like these palettes, but I don't think I expected to like them as much as I am right now. I'm going to take a smaller brush and I'm going to go into Mercurial Rose, and I'm going to use that for my inner corner shade, just more so this way. Ooh, that's pretty on the inner corner. kind of want it on this corner too. All right, so I'm gonna pop off camera, throw on some mascara, and I will be right back. All right, guys, so here is the final look on each eye. And I honestly kind of really like them both. Let's talk about Bronze Bliss first. So that is the one I have on this eye. So I quite like this one. I will say I do wish there was at least one lighter matte, maybe, you know, to replace maybe this one or one of the bronzes. I don't really know, but I do wish there was a lighter matte just to kind of anchor things. That being said, I do think it turned out pretty well. I don't normally pull off a smoky look, but I like how this one turned out. So I am kind of impressed that I was able to anchor it and make it work so well. I think that says a lot about the formula. In the future, if I'm trying to use some of these bronzes, I would probably dip into another palette, which isn't something I want to have to do. However, it's not a deal breaker. And I honestly think the black it's quite pigmented, but it's also one of those more buildable blacks. It's not this super deep, intense pigmented black that you're not going to be able to sheer out. Obviously, that was a big part of what I tried to do, and it worked out for me, fortunately. So I don't mind. This center shade, Lunar Luxury, is absolutely incredible. It feels very wet to the touch. It goes on beautifully. I think it would apply very well with a brush as well, just given that it already does feel kind of wet. That is something I will try next time, but I do overall really, really like how this went on. It's very opaque. It gave such a beautiful shine and sparkle to the lid. I really, really love that silver. The shade Nude Moon, I don't super love it with this look. I think it would be better with those bronzes, but I kind of wanted something on that inner corner to just kind of brighten things up a little bit. I think it did fine, but it wasn't my favorite with those two. However, I am really obsessed with Lunar Luxury. I am excited to play with these bronzes, but overall, I think this one was a definite hit. I'm glad I picked this up, if even only for that one shade. And into Nude Allure. This one is also quite beautiful. So the lightest shimmer in this one, I enjoy a lot more than the lightest shimmer in Bronze Bliss. That brown surprised me. It feels very creamy to the swatch, which the black in Bronze Bliss is not quite as creamy. It definitely feels a little more on the dry side, but this brown swatched so creamy, and because of that I was really shocked when I went in with a brush and I got a ton of kick up. However, when I put it on the lid, I was able to see how creamy that shade is, the way it just went into the crease, the way it blended out, the way it distributed so evenly and looked so pretty on the lid. I really, really love that brown shade. I think that's an amazing quality matte, and that has got to be one of my favorite matte shadows ever. These shades I all think are very, very beautiful. I love the way Mercurial Rose looked on the inner corner. This purple is actually super beautiful as well. This is Plum Eclipse. I love the way that looked. Coral Kiss isn't my most favorite shade of pink, but I do think it's very beautiful within this palette, and I'm really excited to play with Naked Bronze next time. So between the two, I think they're both phenomenal. They both offer different things, but they both do a great job of being what they are. As for which one you should pick up, if you don't want to pick up both, if you don't want to grab the bundle, and you just want to pick one, it just really depends. Nude Allure is going to give you those more pinky purple looks that Pat is really known for, but it's going to give you the very best matte I have ever used, and you're also going to get an easier crease shade to work with. So I will say that. I think this is beautiful for us more pinky purple lovers. If you want something that is smoky and a little bit more full glam, then you might really, really enjoy Bronze Bliss. I'm surprised that the black and the silver are in here because they're not what I think of when I think of these bronzes. I almost think of a more deep brown and then maybe another kind of bronze in here, but this palette I would not like nearly as much if not for Lunar Luxury. So if you're looking for that more smoky, deeper look, this one might be your preference, but if you're more into those pinks and purples, not nearly as smoky, then you might like this one more. I don't necessarily think this is very nude, but that's okay. I love both of these looks. I'm mostly just really taken with the brown in here and the silver in here. So I'm really glad I bought both. I can't decide which look I like best. Because I have a different one on each eye, I was just going to take off one of them and match them up so as to not mess with my eyes for the rest of the day, but I don't know which one I want to keep and which one I want to toss. I love these both. I am incredibly glad I have these both, and I actually like these two so far better than the large 18 pan. I will of course update you guys at the end of the month, but so far I like these two better than her Mega Mothership palette. So I think these are an absolute hit if you're only planning on picking one thing up from this collection and you're not sure if you want the large palette or these guys. The large palette gets you a lot more product, but these are phenomenal. So I would recommend these. That is it for me today. Thank you so very much for watching. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload at least 3 new videos every single week. Thank you again so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!